Moving on to our next session, Unpacking Policies, written by Jugal Kishore Mohapatra, who will be in conversation with Satya Mohanty on Unpolitically Correct, the Politics and Economics of Governance. I would request Dr. Satya Mohanty to please come to the dais.
Thank you. Greetings to all of you, our distinguished audience, invitees. Uh, we are well behind schedule, and the session before lunch is quite challenging. So we will try and compress the discussion so that we don't impinge on your normal lunch time. About the book, Dr. Mohanty has already spoken. And my job, let me clarify, I'm not a reviewer. I'm not going to reveal my comments or observations on the book. My job is very simple. Make the speaker, make the author tell you about what he thinks about many contemporary issues. This book covers a very large canvas about the economy, about public policy, and the book has been endorsed by two very distinguished scholars, Ashutosh Varshanay and Nitin Desai. So, and they have spoken if you see the book, what they have said about Dr. Mohanty actually is something one should be proud of. And thank you, Satya, for doing this marvelous work. Let me first start, and we'll try and, as I said, keep it as short as possible. See, one is attracted to a book by its title. And I think that's, at least as far as I'm concerned, the title of the book, if it is catchy, it attracts me. And your book certainly has a very catchy title. Could you briefly tell us why have you chosen? Because it's a very unusual title, Unpolitically Correct. So please tell us something first about your title, the choice of the title.
Quickly, on the issue of the title, ordinarily, on the issue of the title, quickly, politically correct is a very well-known phrase. And opposite of that will be politically incorrect. So some people ask me, why haven't you called it politically incorrect? Politically incorrect gives a particular sense which is not correct. And that's why I made it unpolitically correct. That means the issue is correct, but if you apply the political sense, it may not be taken as correct. But if you remove the sense, it is correct. That's what I meant. So, and I avoided the temptation of the low-hanging fruit of naming it as politically incorrect. It is not such a revolutionary book which debunks the establishment completely. It does find holes in the establishment, okay, but it doesn't debunk and wants a complete overhaul of the thing like that. So that's why I thought that it is appropriate to name it as unpolitically correct. Thank you.
Now, my next issue that normally civil servants write memoirs. I mean, that's what one would have expected you to write, your extensive experience in civil service, in other fields, in different fields. But you have chosen a different path. Why have you done that?
Two things. The first one is in a lighter vein. When D.H. Lawrence was ill and he was not exactly young, I think it's D.H. Lawrence or it's Bertrand Russell, one of them, okay. So someone went with some fruits and flowers, and the worthy seems to have said, look here lady, I'm too early for flowers and too late for fruits. So that is in the lighter vein. But more importantly, why I didn't write a memoir is number one, is that why treat a tired theme twice? Once by living it and second time by writing about it. So I thought, something which touches everyone, writing about it and unpacking it and giving a clue to them is a much better way of engaging with the readers than writing about oneself. That is precisely, and I think the moment you start in my mind at least, I think that your time has come for the flowers. I don't want flowers now. Thank you.
Very well said. Um, I think you have in different chapters, you have focused on growing inequality in the society, personal inequality across regions. So I think that is a cross-cutting theme in different chapters. And you have mentioned one of the ways you can possibly remedy the situation is by providing good quality of education and health. This is basic, among other things. We'll come to inequality later. But let me start with, you have been an education secretary, so I'll pick your brain or your thoughts on that, as you have mentioned in the book. Now, let's go to education first. As you know better than I do, more than 50% of children in urban areas and perhaps more than 40% of children in rural areas today are not going to government schools. They are going to private schools. Now, question is, why do citizens go for a fee-paying private sector, private option when a free public option exists, free textbook, free uniform, free midday meal, and yet they spurn it and go to a private school? Why is it happening?
Jugal, you are an economist, you know it very well. What people consider as a good value for money. If it is 100% free and people perceive that they are not getting enough, but you pay a low fee or some kind of a moderate fee and feel that they are getting reasonable return on that, they prefer that. The problem is not only perception. It is Abhijit Banerjee in his book, Poor Economics, he says that in Indian public schools, at any given point of time, 50% of the teachers are not teaching. Okay, someone could be in the common room, but the point is 50% of teachers are not before the class. And in 25 to 30% of teachers are absent. That's the one. The second one is when the teachers are not present and things are unruly, things are completely, loose-limbed, then people don't think that anything will come out of it. That's number one. And number two is that parents also must be blamed for this perceptional error. The fixation with English language, the fixation with smartly attired kids, the fixation with someone, this thing also improves or increases the chance of the student being, people being put in that school, private school. And the third part of it is that fee-paying schools, people feel that they're getting a good return, at least the teachers are there. Okay, at least the teachers are there. And that is the reason why people prefer, despite some kind of a monetary outflow, that they're getting better value. Okay.
We'll come back to this theme when we go to health also. One more question about, we discussing school education, and which is very foundational. Possibly all of us do understand that there is something very drastically wrong with our school education system, particularly those schools run by government. But how do you improve it? What kind of thoughts you have expressed in the book? Very briefly tell us, so that 2 or 3 things that can be done, which are doable, which any government will not be shy of doing, so that situation can be improved.
Couple of commonsensical nudge. If you appoint a teacher my idea, for which some people may hate me, my idea is you appoint him, but don't regularize him for 5 years. And if he's a good teacher for the first 5 years of his life, he will not veer off his course much later, number one. And you have got the good material. We have got the good material. It's not random sampling. Okay. Then the second part of it is that teachers and the school administration should follow the principle of subsidiarity. That means the appropriate level should govern it. Not the director of public instructions. Maybe he can control a few things, etc. But at the local level, he should be controlled. And the third thing is that, third mistake which you have made is, most of our budget goes towards the salary and nothing is left for reading material, for reading equipments, okay, classroom equipments, etc. Nothing is left. So in some places people are told, I believe students are told to get a couple of chalks themselves for the teacher. Okay. So that being the case, too much of good is the enemy, trying to be best in something becomes enemy of good. Paying such a hefty salary, because Indian teachers are 22nd highest paid in the world. I will like to disabuse this idea that Indian teachers are not well paid. They are 22nd best paid in the world. But thereafter nothing is left in education. Okay. And if this same chap, he's your tank of the war, and tank is absent in the war, what will happen? This is precisely what happened. And then my point is that once you do that, and the second thing is that you need not make everything free in the government school. We have gone through government school where you used to pay something. Okay, in given those old days, we used to pay something. Today, no one pays anything. If that small thing is 5 rupees or 10 rupees or 20 rupees is paid every month, then there is enough amount, enough pool available for the blackboard, chalk, etc., etc. Not for capital investment, but for the revenue expenditure. That is the second part. And the third part is that it is once again Avijit Banerjee got it, saying that when these teachers are not present in the class, but amazing thing is, when they go for a training program and come back, and the private school teacher goes for a training program and comes back, the performance of the government teacher has been better. So whatever is your virtuous cycle, why not you exploit it? Yeah.
Thank you. Time, I think I can't leave you before you say something about higher education, U.S. Secretary of Higher Education. Many people are bemoaning that there is tremendous lack of autonomy today in the institutions of higher education, not just in Odisha, but across all. Today, even glorious central universities are possibly declining in terms of their reputation. So what's your thought on this?
I entirely agree that the state of affairs in the best of the institutions in India are not that honky-dory, 100% superfine, no longer. And the ones which still retain a certain amount of quality consciousness, etc., they are also pulled down, and the dumbing of the universities started taking place. Okay. Like Delhi University was in the forefront at one point of time, but now it is iffy, whether it is in the top 10 or 15, and something like Jamia Millia Islamia is number 5 or 6. So that means the good ones are falling behind, and for wrong reasons. Okay. And it is, if it is a restriction on autonomy, it is okay up to a point. If it is interventionist and asphyxiating, then it is problematic. I think the latter has happened. It is not that like autonomy has been reduced a lot, but it is, the state has become a biggest interventionist force, and it's so much so that opinions are throttled and ideation is going out of the table, and at the very least, and these are very, very alarming signals. And this is not a sign of a society which is on the trajectory to develop. It is a society which is backtracking. Thank you.
Let's go to health. Uh, just like we discussed about school education and higher education. See, even in health, government, to me, and you have also referred to it in your book, government is slightly confused about its role. It has three distinct roles. One is policy making. The second is regulatory. It regulates. It has to regulate even the private sector. And the third role is direct provider. Now, most often we find that governments are possibly focusing more on their third role and neglecting their first and second role, which is why the idea of making markets state abandon their mandated role of making markets work better. That's not happening. Now, you as a Secretary General of the Human Rights Commission, you have mentioned in the book that you used to get enormous amounts of complaints regarding the conduct of private sector hospitals, clinical establishments. But we all know that clinical establishment law is there, it's not enforced. Now, 80% of people in rural areas go to private providers, most of whom are not even qualified. So the regulatory, government as a regulator and as a policy maker is possibly failing. So what is your thought on that, and what do you suggest to revamp the primary health care in the country?
Two or three things. Uh, it is true that people only do best what they know best. You will find that in the things like education, there is a great preference for the hardware. Building a school building, constructing an university, the software part of it is less understood and less provided for. Similar thing happens in the health sector. There is a great temptation to open new medical colleges, new hospitals, etc., caring very scantily for how the manpower is getting filled in, how the vacancies are addressed, etc., etc. But number two is that I have made a case for primary health care much more, because for several reasons. The research shows that the primary health care must be taken care first before you move into tertiary. But what have you done? You have gone for an insurance scheme. The problem with the insurance, apart from the other things like asymmetric information, moral hazard, what the economists talk about, the problem with insurance is that you think that you have sorted out the problem. But you have not sorted out the problem. You have made the problem costlier to sort out. That's number one. Second thing is, in the primary health care also, the absenteeism of doctor is a problem. And it is not such a big deal to making sure that the doctors attend. You will have to make it some kind of an incentivized structure in which you work in the rural area for 3 years, you get your choices posting in the city. Not the blue-eyed boys who will come to the cities and you will go to the villages. It is a complete quid pro quo. You have worked in the rural areas for 3 years, you will get to work for 3 years in the best of the locations. That is one thing. Second thing is that, which people do not deal with, is that rural area has got a big problem of this RMPs, rural medical practitioners, who are not qualified. Like they are pumping in steroid and antibiotic. India is staring at a future of steroid and antibiotic immunity. That's a big problem. So in that particular case, what do? You should filled a lot of BSc nursing candidates, number one. At the time of independence, we had got licensed medical practitioners, LMP,
LMPs.
who did a 3-year course in the medicine. We should have, you can bring it in, or you can have the BSc nursing candidates with more in-service training program. And the third thing is that please provide certain, everyone in India, if you look at the public expenditure, 2 rupees per capita is upon the medicine. With that thing, you cannot run a health system. And if you think that the health system is rotten, it couldn't have been anything better than rotten. Because 2 rupees, what do you do? And then what do they call the distribution and the transmission losses? Then that 2 rupees is probably 50 paisa. Okay. So the things can be fixed up. I am great believer in principle of subsidiarity. Okay. That means these things, these primary health care should be under the panchayats. Okay. Or panchayat samiti, maximum. In matters of attendance, in matters of this thing, not on technical matters. Okay. Then our problem is that either you do this or do that. Then what will happen is that the government will issue an order that from tomorrow onwards they are under the panchayat samitis. Without differentiating intelligently what items need not be looked at by the panchayats and what item needs to be looked at by technical groups. Okay. So those kind of things we do not do. So a couple of things, principle of subsidiarity, LMP or the BSc nursing guys dispensing medicine, writing prescriptions, etc. And the third thing is making sure that the doctor is present by of some kind of incentives like this.
Thank you. We go over to, we come back to the theme of inequality. And as I mentioned, in almost all chapters, you have sort of emphasized on how inequality is growing in the society. And you have offered a few suggestions. One, of course, we discussed about good public health and good public education. You have also mentioned about taxing the super rich, taxing the billionaires 1%, top 1%. And you have also mentioned about some programs which have done well to reduce regional inequalities. My first question, and you have relied, let me also say that you have relied extensively on the World Inequality Database, which has some issues, some people, for some academic, but let's put that aside. But wealth tax on super rich or billionaire hasn't worked really, even in the OECD countries. Most countries have withdrawn this tax. India also has withdrawn this tax. And if developed countries with their best state capacities have not succeeded in implementing wealth tax well, efficiently, what makes you so sanguine about doing it well in India?
Good question. Many people will say that when anyone is talking about wealth tax, you are probably trying to fight this war with the weapons of the last war. Many people say. But if you look at the egregious inequality in the country, where 50% of the population have got wealth equivalent to 98 top fellows. Only 98, not even 1%. 1% we will talk about 14 million. I'm not talking 98 fellows have got more wealth than the 50% of the population. And then there are several granularities after that, how the middle class has lost out, okay, etc., etc. My point is, if you are looking at targeted wealth tax, don't try to cover anything, number one, everyone. Number two is that if you look at my writing, I have called for some de minimis exemption. That means you are looking at something like a guy having wealth of, let's say, 30-40 crores. Okay, then concentrate on them, and then it is law of small number is your state capacity will not be challenged. If you are making it that anyone who has earned, etc., like the like the monkeys throwing a dart, then you are in trouble. Okay, that was the problem there. And the second part, the OECD countries also, like our country, they are also rich or powerful. Okay.
Okay. I think there are signals that we should wind up quickly, but let me take some quick, let's flag some very quick issues. You have also very interestingly flagged this debate about growth versus development, which is very interesting in the book. And the political leadership perhaps it still has some kind of a growth fetishism. Everybody is talking about 5 trillion economy, 30 trillion economy. So, Viksit Bharat by 2047. Where will this take us actually?
Actually, more stories have been written in Excel sheet than in Microsoft Word. Okay. We writers are blamed for writing stories, but more stories are in the Excel sheet. And if you are talking about 2047, as John Maynard Keynes said, then in the long term, all of us are dead. At least I'll be dead. Okay. And like me, several people in my cohort will not be there. So who knows what is going to happen? So you are telling a pie in the sky story. Okay, a pie in the sky story in a long time frame, etc. Number two, you are also spinning yarn about a narrative that development is equivalent of growth and we are growing this much, etc. There could be a society in which 500 fellows get 95% of the wealth and income, and 95 people on a society of 100, 95 people will get 5. So it doesn't making anyone better off if they're. And if you look at the literature of inequality, someone whom I respect, Mr. Panagaria, I was reading he said it's a second order problem. And what does he say? Such convoluted argument, including Jagdish Bhagwati, saying that if there is one Bill Gates, he can go on vacation once or twice. If there are 100 fellows divided, okay, they will go on 4 or 5 vacations multiplied into 100, 500 vacations. So there is a lot of conspicuous consumption. So these are all this thing. It is a story, who is telling a story, for whom, and who is buying that story. So this Vikasit Bharat, without the underlying things changing, it is simple that when large number of people are going down, with a smaller number going up, it cannot be Vikasit. You can have a few flyovers here and there, but you can also have pikes at the gate. Okay. So these narratives are political narratives. It will go on until the time their politicians are asked questions.
Good. I think the last question, time is running out. And this is about GST. I think this is, now GST has been claimed as a game changer. And in many ways it is perhaps. It has transformed the taxation system in India. Now, but it is underperforming according to many, and we have had the experience of last 6-7 years. Now, what are the 2 or 3 major reforms you suggest for bringing GST back on rails?
Okay. When GST was introduced, okay, the driver for that is to have a single common market for India, so that like your vehicles carrying stuff from one end to the other will not be stopped at many places, and tax will be collected at many sources. The seamless flow of goods and services, etc. That was one. The second trigger was there should not be any cascading effect of tax. And the third thing which was debated in the parliament and also this thing is that it will make the economy inflationary. Third part of it, no one really took it seriously and said, no, it is fine. There is no evidence to the contrary, or evidence is not strong enough, so that kind of thing. One thing is there, The third is proven right. Okay. Third is, it is inflationary. That is, because the one simple thing, whatever you are paying as 100, if you pay 118, then obviously it will fuel inflation. Okay. Um, the second thing is that cascading. Cascading part of it is not really off, largely because of two reasons. A, there a bunch of, some set of fellows, right up to 40 lakhs or 80 lakhs, etc., have been exempted. Exemption is antithetical to any efficient taxation system. Exempted, fine. But the problem is that, like in every country, but more in India and South Asia, everyone can come within that particular category. And more people have come into that. How it will succeed better? First thing, it has succeeded wherever a single rate is followed. We have got 5 rates. And there is another country like us, which has got 4 or 5 rates, is Russia, I think. Okay. So we are not a great poster boy for efficiency, no wonder. And so we will have to make it one rate. You will have to make sure people do not remain on the radar by increasingly removing exemptions, etc. And the third thing is we have got the advantage of technology, so it will work. But that said, in 2024, if you say that the air conditioner of a medium make is a luxury item and put 28% as tax, you are ignoring the reality of the world. Okay. Food, we have exempted completely. There is no, this is all fixations. Okay, our fetishes. Okay. And, but the point is, we have got it wrong. And I do not want to go into tax economics and other things. That is not, this is not the forum. But it can be improved by single rate, less exemptions, and thresholds being lowered for the exemptions, etc. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we have overshot the time. There are many more issues that you have flagged and discussed very, very analytically and in a manner that even people who are uninitiated to the world of jargons of economics can also understand. I strongly recommend this book to be read by people who have interest in contemporary affairs, public policy and governance. And thank you once again for a wonderful book, for readable, highly readable and relevant book. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us on the stage. The economic disparity of the society does play a vital role in shaping the society. I would like to thank our sponsors for coming forward and joining hands and making this festival a great success. Our presenting sponsors, Remedial Life Sciences and Manpar Icon Technologies, powered by Indian Oil and LIC. Associate sponsors, JM Bakshi, Hind Terminals and S&M Group. Our cultural partner, ICCR, book partner, Oxford, Lekha Lekhi, knowledge partner, Utkal University and ASBM University. Thank you everyone.